Okay, so we've played a few different variations of Lorehold Dragon here with Time Warp before, so just a refresher in case you haven't seen it. 5/5 for 7 Flying Vigilance Haste. When attacks, you get to look at the top 7 cards of your deck and cast an instant or sorcery with 5 or less converted mana cost. So the basic idea is you get Daddy Dragon into play here, and then you get to cast Time Warps. And then we also have Mizzix Masteries here, so once you've cast the first Time Warp, you have more copies of Time Warp in your deck to cast, so that way you just keep attacking with this 5/5 Flying Vigilance Haste Dragon in the air. Now, there's a couple different ways to cheat this into play. Unburial Rites is one, Ramping with Chandra is another. This deck is using Indomitable Creativity to get it into play. So destroy X target artifacts and or creatures. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of their library. So they reveal an artifact or creature and then put those cards into play. So basically, you use Prismari Command or Magma Opus here to make a treasure token, and then you Indomitable Creativity that treasure token to put the dragon into play on turn 4, and then starting on turn 4, you just start attacking and using Time Warp to take extra turns and kill your opponent. We're also a combo control deck, so we've got things like Memory Lapse and Sweltering Suns and Anger of the Gods to be a little bit interactive here, and the Mizzix Masteries comboing with Time Warp also gives you kind of a backup plan of you can Mizzix Mastery Magma Opus if you don't have Indomitable Creativity in order to kind of get just some value out of it and interact with the board a little bit, which is neat. So we also have 4 copies of Dwarven Mine here in the mana base, so notice our mana base looks a little bit weird. We've got Triomes, even though we're not in white because they're mountains. So on turn 4, you can also just like play Dwarven Mine and then Creativity this token. Notable deck building restriction with the Creativity is we can't have artifacts or creatures in our deck, because we want to guaranteed hit this when we Creativity. So let's go ahead and hop on into some games with this and see how it goes. Do you have any idea why they changed the way you view cards to sideboard? Yeah, because they added this weird 7-card sideboard rule to best of 1. And they didn't want to have separate interfaces for best of 3 and best of 1. I think there's a version of this deck in Modern. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what's going on in Modern. I haven't followed that format at all. Thanks for the bits, Twin. Thanks for the follow, Trevere Knight. I appreciate it. Any thoughts on Biden's speech yesterday? I mean, Biden's speech talked about doing a whole bunch of really fantastic things. So that's good. And then, in a shocking turn of events in the U.S. Senate actually getting something done without abolishing the filibuster, the Senate passed a clean water bill for like $35 billion in water funding, like 89-2. With naturally one of the 2 people voting against it being Ted Cruz, because he's a fucking scumlord. Well, at least our deck has Brainstorm in it to maybe shuffle some of these Dorkos back, but rough start on the decent 7 keep into the rudder Velomachus. I guess if they're a Mopey control deck, we have the Triome, we could just cast these later, right? It's a shame we didn't draw Creativity this turn. Hey Seth, thank you for the 37 months. Love the website. Been working on 5-color control Niv. Can't wait to send them in. Thanks for the support. I'm glad you enjoy the site. Your what's it called? Niv deck's actually one of the decks up there. Real sweet. So Magma Opus here actually going to let us make a treasure, and that's you know, talking about ways to cast this. In addition to the Triomes, the treasure tokens off of these are also ways to cast it. Hopefully they like tap out here for a Planeswalker, and then we like do this and then cast this. It'd be great. Yeah, thanks, opponent.
Spark be mine.
So we'll exile this.
My intellect is without limit.
So we'll go ahead and discard this for a treasure. And we get to go Dwarven Mine into Lorehold Dragon. And I think on the off chance we brick off here, I want to kill their Bolas. Yeah, I'm glad we killed their Bolas. None of these do anything useful here, huh? So 7 cards is a lot of cards, but sometimes you miss. It's a shame. It's a shame we didn't even hit. We didn't have Time Warp in the bin yet, but even if we hit Mizzix Mastery there, we could have Magma Opus their Nicol Bolas. So like, super unfortunate that there were 8 good hits. Oh, what's the Hyper Geo on that? There were 8 good hits in my 47 card deck. Sample size is 7. I wanted 1. We were. That's actually lower than I was expecting. We were only 76% to hit one of the cards we wanted to hit there. Wow, this isn't dying? I feel like if they had Crux of Fate, they would have... I feel like if they had Crux of Fate, they would have just destroyed the dragons here. Okay, well, we bricked on the Time Warp again. Getting pretty unlucky this game, and actually still looking kind of okay to get in terms of getting set up here. It's nice. You love to see it. Should be increasing our number of potential hits. I don't think so. Coming up with something clever for these is too much pressure. Thanks for 13 months procrastinating. Well, you can't hit Magma Opus with Dragon Chat. Magma Opus is an 8 mana spell. This only hits 5 or less. Did I blank past the Time Warp? I might have blanked past the Time Warp. I think it was correct to do this in case they had a damage spell. Even if we had a Time Warp in there. I'm going to be honest, I blanked past it if it was in there. Wow. Just as a random stat before I close my Twitter page so I don't get distracted by it midstream. The post at the top of my feed was a congressional member mentioning that Washington D.C. pays more federal taxes than 21 different states in total each year. Which that's almost assuredly one of the best arguments to making them a state. All right, so the person that submitted this said they bring in these against control decks and against graveyard hate. I don't know if we want disputes here, probably. Angers and Sweltering Suns, obviously not great. Trimming some Mizzix Mastery, probably. Trimming Mizzix Mastery is probably pretty reasonable. Honestly, probably some Magma Opus too if I'm trimming some Mizzix Mastery. Like, be a little bit less in on the combo. We'll leave a couple of these into cast. Hard cast. So there's different failure rates, Blue Fire. So like 90% plus is like if you're gonna get to play a game of Magic in terms of hitting your lands to cast your spells. But like in terms of like hitting on my 5/5 flying haste dragon, like that last game is a good example of an argument for not changing my deck construction to make my dragon more consistent. Because, like, we won that game in spite of getting pretty unlucky because our dragon just found other things and it was still fine. It's for the 19 months, Harlequin. Happy Friday to you. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Tomato. Okay, so I'm gonna Prismari Command. I draw 2, I make a treasure. And then I'm gonna bin Command. I'm gonna bin Time Warp. And then we have to bin another card here, probably Commence the Endgame. So it's probably just a Time Warp, right? Nah, it's probably Commence the Endgame, because if my dragon hits a Time Warp, I can cast the second one. Now, I drew 2 of my Time Warps here, so good chance we miss on this. Well, we're set up to make another dragon next turn. I'm gonna have to redraw some of these. Redraw the Commence the Endgame. You're seeing a negative percentage for person's mythic. No, those don't exist. Usually the lowest the percentages get is like 50 or 60. Oh shit! I actually don't have my thing set back up again this turn because I don't have, that's super awkward. Yeah, the mana base in this build might be... I almost added a 4th Triome. There's a good chance I should. Yeah, it needs 3 other mountains. Yikes.
Outsmarted you eons ago.
Hey, Brigiano. Thanks for the brand new Prime support. There's a ton of great people. You can always send that to every month. Thanks for sending it this way this month. Happy Friday. Alright, cast Explore. I think we're probably dead here.
You have no weakness I cannot exploit.
Yeah, so I could play Chandra and kill a Nicol Bolas, but like they're still gonna have the other one. I guess if I exile this one, they could trade this here. But then they also get to Thought Seize me, so like, oh gosh, and their Bolas could give me emblems if they wanted now too.
Always do better next time. Ooh, exploded.
They could also X his 2- on the Chandra, yeah. Yep. Huh? Think I'm happy with how we boarded. We've definitely been a little bit unfortunate in how our draws have lined up so far in this set, but at the same time, it feels like there's definitely a lot of cards in this deck you actively don't want to draw. Like, you want to keep your dragons in your deck, you want to keep your time warps in your deck. So definitely very happy to have access to Brainstorm, so we could play catch and release and toss things back. Grixis control mid-range gets some toys with the new set. Yeah, you can find a Bolas deck similar to what this opponent's playing in the fan favorite section on my website. Crux of Fate was a big pickup. That archetype previously lacked the ability to have a powerful sweeper. I guess we're just putting this into play tapped this turn. Like, we're pretty far off of being able to have a game into play untapped to make a token. I wonder if it was wrong to board in Commence the Endgame against this this more creature-based control deck. Morning, YOLO. It's Friday. We're gonna play some Magic. We're gonna play some Pikmin. Need to decide if I want to play in some SCG tournaments this weekend. They're doing historic for their formats. Are they debating taking my Magma Opus to deny me a piece of ramp? Huh, interesting. They have another discard spell? Neat. Okay. We'll wait on this so they don't know we have the 5th land. Good chance this time Warp's just going to be an Explorer trying to get a 6-drop ahead of curve here. Hey, Pengu Power, thank you for this. 61 months. Good morning, good morning. That's an incredible draw. Okay, so if we hit an untapped land here and get to cast Shark Typhoon, we should be in a pretty good spot. Nailed it. See if they can race us down here or not. Stuff like this and Cling to Dust, or why we boarded out Mizzix Mastery. We've got 2 6-drops here, so we've got a 6-drop here. I think we just murder the Bone Crusher Giant here. They're at 16, and my sharks are going to be dealing a lot of damage anyways. I think we want to... Oh, you know what? I probably want to do this, right? That way I don't take... Oh, this doesn't trigger on abilities anyways, right?
Let's make some more room.
That's fine. They shouldn't be able to punish me putting damage on here. Someone asked in chat, what are poggers? Poggers are an internet thing to show excitement. It's a Zoomer thing. Basically, people who are only as old as Pengu Power's subscription like to say poggers a lot. Well, I've been personally attacked. That's a little bit awkward. We cycled our white source so that we drew the white spell. Thanks for the biddies, Beetle. Twitch is such a weird microcosm of social media. Yeah, definitely. You have to remember too, like, it's very easy to forget when you're someone that, like, spends a lot of time here on Twitch that, like, Twitch is super niche. But, like, when I, like, go to social events and stuff like that, and I have to explain to people what I do for my job, most of them don't know what Twitch does, what Twitch is.
Utterly is the best way to destroy things.
Feels bad, man. I'm holding on to this Fabled Passage because we could draw a Brainstorm. Alright, so I actually, I messed up. I should have waited to make that shark until it was their turn, because now they can exert this. So I'm gonna not mess up, but I'm gonna wait on the Brainstorm. So that way when they exert this, they need a piece of instant speed removal to kill me. But I should have waited to do this until after they declared attackers. Basic plains comes at a really huge cost. In fact, I think we already have too many basic islands because we're trying to enable Dwarven Mine. If we weren't trying to enable Dwarven Mine, I would consider a basic plains. I think a reasonable inclusion is I wouldn't mind a fourth Triome because that's also a mountain. My 15-year-old nephew likes to say poggers way too much. Yep. There's a chance they have a piece of spot removal here, and if they have a piece of spot removal and I die, it's my own fault. Nice. Nailed it. Okay, so we get to put this back, and I think we put this back. And then I can make a treasure with this, and then cast Lorehold next turn. I want to cast this next turn. Yeah, we're gonna make a treasure. Which again, like, another reason why I don't think we need a plains. I think we just let this happen, right? I think we just let this happen. Oh, it can emblem us. Yeah, that's true. But, like, how am I stopping them from embleming us the next turn? Right? Like if I lapse this, I'm gonna go back to my turn, and then I'm just gonna end up passing back to them, right? I think we just let this happen.
Will remake the multiverse in my image.
The emblem's gonna kill us. Not if we put a dragon into play and take some turns. Oh, we could dispute it the following turn. That's a decent thought.
Aw, looks like someone's getting a little sweaty.
Oh, we literally have them dead, chat. It's cool. It's cool. We got it. We got it. They were gonna die. They were gonna die to the Chandra emblem too. Close game. Close game. Shark Typhoon punched the clock and doing some heavy lifting there. The axis of being able to cast. The axis of being able to cast our spells, our combo is nice. Yeah, I think I want a 4th Triome. Hey, good games, Princess. Good luck in the rest of your laddering today. Yeah, I think I want to turn this Sulfur Falls into a 4th Triome, both for Dwarven Mine purposes and for casting purposes. Someone else asked, why is there an Anger instead of a 3rd Sweltering Suns? Yeah, I think that's probably just wrong, right? This is a viewer submission. Like, what do we want to exile in this format that doesn't have, like, Oven, right? Can anybody give me, what are we exiling? Oh, Phoenix. Okay, I'm gonna leave the Anger. Phoenix and Arcanist are good answers. In a Jund food world, rogue stuff too. Yeah, okay, I like the Angers. I like the Angers. Yeah, this needs some lands, but we've got command into creativity if we find them. And if we can find a 3rd land, this can find us land 4 with the loot. That fat loot. Yeah, I would not be surprised if 3 to 6 months from now, Luris is not legal in Historic. That's a card that's only going to get better as more cheap cards get printed. And most of the best decks in this format are playing Luris at the moment. It's like Gruul Company, Green-White Company, and then competitive Luris decks is basically the list. Yeah, I agree, Soren. I don't think any of the decks that currently play Luris would be unplayable without it, which means it's a good ban. Luris also reduces variety in threats that people can play for the upside of that card. Yeah, I agree. Luris is a lot like something like Snapcaster Mage in that it reduces the diversity of your format by a significant amount. So do I want to Prismari Command this turn, or do I want to just Sweltering Suns? Those are the best decks to climb to Mythic? Yeah, definitely. If you want to know what my opinion is on the best decks in the format, check out the proven section of the historic decks on my website. So, like, Lurrus isn't a complete free roll is the thing. Lurrus does make you actually make some small choices, but the choices that it makes you make reduce the cards that are playable in the format. Because decks that might want to play Lurrus suddenly don't play cards that make it so you can't play Lurrus. Risen Reef with Grinning Ingus, because Grinning Ingus is an elemental. That's cute. No, Amari is a good example of a companion that was made unplayable with the companion rules change. Yeah, Lurrus should have locked you out of casting any spells that have cost over 2. It should have just been spells. It shouldn't have been permanents. And this is the downside to not Sweltering Sunsing last turn, is now we might lose this race. So I could theoretically Mizzix Mastery my Sweltering Suns here, but I'd rather Prismari Command this turn to set a treasure up to get a dragon going for next turn. And we can shock an Arclight, make a treasure here, so we can save ourselves a little bit of damage. I think that's a fine position to have, Precipic. I do wish the original companions had been designed with that in mind, though, because, like, for example, Amari is just completely useless with the change, right? Like, it's a card that's intended to ramp you, but having to pay 7 mana for it means it no longer accomplishes its goal. So, like, in addition to those two still being too pushed with the way they changed companions, they, like, made some of their designs useless. Put a third bird in the bin. Here's a question. Am I supposed to take this full hit and go to 3 so I can loot? Because if I loot, I put Time Warp into the bin, and putting Time Warp in the bin means I can hit one of my other Mizzix Masteries in order to take extra turns with this. The odds of them having a deal 3 are not high. Yeah, killing their bird doesn't change the clock. I'm still dead in 2. Yeah, I need to combo next turn or I'm not winning the game. Alright, well, if we draw an untapped land here, I could actually brainstorm Mizzix Mastery to the top of my deck. Now, something that's scary here is even if we could potentially hit, they could have a Lightning Axe here. Okay, so they're dead because we took a turn and now I have 2 masteries in hand. That historic tournament tomorrow. I wanted to win. Which deck would I play? I mean, I don't really play tournaments to win. I play tournaments to have fun. So I'm actually considering playing in the SCG tournaments this weekend, and if I do that, I'm definitely playing Dead Guy Ale. Let's do the time warp again. It's just a jump to the left and a skip to the right. Put your hands on your hips. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. If you like playing Selesnya Company, I think Selesnya Company is a great choice. If you don't enjoy playing Selesnya Company, you should not play Selesnya Company. You know, I've been here too long when I start singing the song before Jeff, yep. Yeah, this deck's got a couple of mythics in it. What, 16, 19... 21, 23 mythics. Casual. Does Lapse come out here? I feel like Lapse comes out here. Some Chandra. I think I leave my graveyard stuff in here. Niv with the sub-gift to Rocky Horror. I don't know if this is a dispute matchup. I guess they're going to have counter spells post-board, right? Maybe it's a dispute matchup instead of a Chandra matchup. Let's try that. See how it feels. Yeah, Bant Angels beats most of the fair creature decks and loses to combo and control is like the TLDR. I know I've been here too long, but I know exactly when Jeff is going to stop hitting the verses so I can finish with him. I do have certain lengths that I like to skip through. All right, there's a dispute of their own. Angels is definitely one of the more polarizing decks of the format. Morning, Mike. Hold on to this for a second in case we what's it called? Draw Brainstorm. If we hit untapped land next turn, we can go Opus into Mastery Opus, which sounds great. I actually kind of disagree with that summary Blue is. I think Bant Angels matchups are exactly the same as they were now as they were the first month it was out. I think the novelty just wore off for people. In fact, I think I'd even go as far as to say with Jund Food and Jund Company falling off the map, Bant Angels is arguably a bit better now than it was previously. Because the Jund matchups were like pretty awful for the Angels deck. My first Rocky Horror show, my older sister dressed me up as Brad and didn't tell me anything about the show. That's great, Beetle. Remember going to places and doing things in person? I'm excited to get my second shot and for we get to get vaccines rolled out for the kids so we could go places and do things again. The memory is fading. Sounds dangerous. I think my Christie's probably looking forward to me no longer making the joke about TV shows not being realistic as people are next to each other. Brutal. Well, to be fair, as a parent of children, we're not expecting to have vaccines for smaller children until like the fall at the earliest, so my life's not really changing past having other vaccinated adults into my home to play video games and board games. One of your finest dragons, please. Vaccines in the US already approved to be applied to children. So one of the companies has applied for FDA approval for 12 and plus. And I believe another company is looking for 8 and plus soon. Yeah, they're currently just 16 plus. Well, I believe a 12 to 16 is applied for approval already. When I was looking at stuff online. Okay, so I'm going to cast Brainstorm here, so that way we could try and find a land to cast this Time Warp out of our hand. I should have been more specific, chat. I should have been more specific. Okay, and then I'm gonna force them to pop their lantern here so they can't use it to draw a card. I'm gonna go ahead and play this and trade for their lantern. Just this cantrips if they don't use it to exile my graveyard, so. I can't even imagine that, Allen. I felt stressed out just having like my 5 and 7-year-old. Yeah, this was when we played these various Lorehold decks the other day. The Phoenix matchup felt hard because of Lightning Axe. Yeah, I think anybody fully expecting COVID to go away is probably pretty unrealistic. My expectation is that, and I say this as someone that's not a medical expert, but just looks at past trends of things, you know, looking at even what's happened with the flu, right? Like, I expect, like, we had a pandemic for that in the early 1900s. I imagine we'll get better treatment. We'll have over-the-counter medicine for it. We'll have a yearly booster shot to prevent you from getting it. The idea of lockdowns were never to like eradicate it. It was simply to allow science to catch up and to not overwhelm the hospitals while the science catches up. Your mom is a doctor that is on the board of CHOP and the consensus that it will be like the flu, but we don't know. Yeah, like obviously like there's levels of uncertainty with all of it, right? I think my favorite conservative mental gymnastics that's occurring right now are the Trumpers who want you to call the vaccine the Trump vaccine because he helped get the research going with Project Warp Speed, but they also don't want to take the vaccine because they don't trust it. So it's like, what can we like pick a lane here? Is the vaccine great and Trump deserves credit, or is it not safe and you don't want to get it? Pick one. You don't get to do both. Okay, so unfortunately here, I am 1 mana short of being able to Magma Opus, make a treasure, and then Creativity the treasure. I can, however, Dwarven Mine Creativity, but that loses to a piece of removal like a shock. But that's the line we've got, so we're gonna take it. YOLO. Well, and the problem with using the Time Warp to get the untap is then I'm not going to hit the Time Warp most likely with the Dragon, which means I don't get to kill them when I combo. So by taking my line there, which gets got by a piece of removal like that, I'm guaranteeing that if they don't have it, I win the game. So I think my sequence is correct there, but I would also accept someone with more experience telling me they don't think. I don't think that's a good line. So the person that sent this in said they pull out of the Mizzix Masteries against Graveyard Hate and they had Lantern, but at the same time, I also feel like these type of effects are just too slow for this matchup, so I feel like I'm just supposed to YOLO keeping the Masteries in. This is Torrential Gearhulk with extra steps. That's not strictly true. This deck, when it gets the dragon in play and starts attacking, it wins the game. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a huge level up moment when you start to realize, oh, the statistically optimal play is to just jam in a lot of situations. How is Pikmin 3 last night? It was good. We're gonna play more Pikmin at the close of the stream today, and it's gonna be our end of stream variety game for the next little bit. I think based on the time to beat estimates I read online, we'll probably be playing it this week and next week. And we'll be starting BioShock 1 after that. Those poor Pikmin, they're good. They're good, loyal little creatures, chat. Feels like they have a counterspell here, so I think I'm starting on Mastery. This is bait. I gotta let the kids play. Yeah, probably at some point, Red Link. It's a game that has enough reading in it that at this point, I'd have to sit and play it with them. I do have a PS5. Is my question on Returnal. Returnal is a... I'm just going to do all 4 here so we can try and guaranteed kill this. Returnal is a roguelite, right? So if I'm someone that doesn't enjoy playing roguelites like for 1,000 hours, how many hours of actual gameplay is it if I'm only going to play through it like 2 or 3 times? I mean, I liked Hades gameplay. I just didn't like the... Like, I enjoyed my first, like, 3 or 4 hours of Hades. What's a roguelite is a game that doesn't actually have a lot of content in it, and you play it for a long time because you replay the same content over and over and over again. And you losing as part of the gameplay is considered a feature. Oh yeah, the levels are procedurally generated is another part of it. Yeah, I think we're dead. This Spray Dragon's gonna run us down. Phoenix matchup seems tough with them having lightning axes. Is Diablo the OG roguelite? No. Diablo is an action RPG, which is a different genre of game. We have died. Yeah, replicants on my list of things to do at some point. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it right away. We're playing Pikmin 3, and then we're doing the original BioShock, and then I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing after that. I've got a couple of games I bought on discount that were on sale at different points that we might do. I don't think Breath of the Wild's not really comparable to roguelites at all. I think that's a really bad / silly comparison. So we don't know what they're playing. I think we keep this into this, and we keep Sweltering Suns in case they're a go-wide deck. Sweet. Sweltering Suns looking great. I'm not sure. If you ever want to ask if you can make a donation for a game, submit it through the form on my site so I can take a look at it. I don't take it. I don't take everything. Mostly do action or story driven stuff. So, do I anger or do I mastery here? I feel like I just want a Magma Opus, huh? wait. Only does 4. I tapped that Ruinous chat. This also provides a token for Indomitable Creativity, which is funny. Reckless Rage. Okay. Okay, so no way to get Dragon down in sight. I guess we do this and hope they don't have another way to enable Ruinous here. We do this, and we just plan to memory lapse this turn. And then next turn I can actually cast this, right? I can lapse their play this turn. And then Magma Opus, and then Dragon. Sick. We've cast the Dragon a surprising amount. Played Sierra recently, the Dark Souls spiritual sequel, and after I played it, the biggest thing I noticed that I really enjoyed how it ensured every boss was super close to a checkpoint, so it wasn't, yeah, it's my thing, Precipic. Is this a Perilous Voyage matchup? Anger seems okay. Feels like it could be a Perilous Voyage matchup for bouncing their things. How much graveyard hate do I expect? Do I want to... Honestly, maybe this is we cut the lapses on the draw. And we bring in the Perilous Voyages so we have more ways to play to the board. Hey, welcome to a live one, Ether Wild. Thanks for the 16 months. Hope your day off is swell. This looks fine. You spent 10 hours on one boss. Woof. If everyone is playing Historic, might as well support the person I enjoy watching. Good to have you back in Magic. Good to have you back, Branch. Thanks for 13 months. Historic is a grand old time. Let's set up the perfect Brainstorm here at end of turn. Unfortunate that I don't have untapped land rolled up for next turn. Definitely want the Time Warp in my deck here, right? Pretty far off of just like, our mana base is so awk. This Dwarven Mine's pretty far from being untapped. Oh, that's untapped land. Okay, so I could do this into Sweltering Suns now. Actually, probably Anger here. As exiling doesn't matter in this matchup, and this can cycle. Okay, so we have Command for a Treasure and Dwarven Mine online next turn, so we get to Creativity. So, it's optimal here to target both of these with Creativity, because if they have a Braid or a removal spell, I want to make sure that we don't get got. It's like if I go to target just the treasure and they abrade it, I don't get anything there. So by targeting the dwarf there, even though we technically bid a Velomachus, we get some redundancy playing through the disruption. For the folks in chat, Mask and Quaza, who are having a discussion about definitions of roguelites, one, arguing about definitions tends to be very silly because definitions, especially in the gaming sphere, tend to not be super strict. They tend to be more loosey-goosey and evolve and flow as language changes. Two, take it to a DM. I think this hand's good enough with the Brainstorm and the fetch land. This will be mountain number 2, so we just need one more mountain. And then a Creativity. I bet this matchup's hard. You're playing Ox on the board for control matchups, largely for rogues, I would assume. Nifty, I timed you out because your argument is bad. The idea, and this is something I feel strongly about, so I'm giving you a 10-minute break. The idea that it's okay for some games to just be hard and not include difficulties because they want to intentionally exclude people is very silly. If your enjoyment of a game is diminished because other people get to play that game on a lower difficulty, you're a shitty person who should reassess why you feel the way you do about things. Games that don't include difficulty settings are lazy at best. Especially in modern day game engines, where like you could just make it so it's easier to kill enemies and you take less damage when getting hit. Like I get that people love Dark Souls games, but like the Dark Souls games should have settings where you like take less hits and deal more damage, etc. Just adjust the numbers at a minimum. Good games with good accessibility will go even further than that. but like what I just described is like the bare minimum. Tom with the 61 months, one of the OGs. Vonu, thank you for the tier 2 and the 25. So, Pokemon not having difficulty settings, I guess you could crank the levels up of the opponent's Pokemon is probably a reasonable thing to do, but in Pokemon you can't just adjust the health totals, the damage output of the moves, because competitive VGC is a thing. When I talk about adjusting damage outputs and stuff, that's not something you could do in a PvP game, but the game with the PvP element, really. Mr. J, thanks for the follow. Hooker Pudge, oh, Twitch usernames, and J Cops, good morning. I want to kill this before they get to combat, I think. Probably like kill this, make some loot. I think it's these two. Maybe it was wrong to loot and I'm supposed to make treasures to work towards just casting Magma Opus. Oh shit. Man, this card's so annoying. I was like, oh, I'm gonna time warp here as an explorer. Negative. I think real life analogies are shitty and stupid. I think your example is bad and it's just awful, Duck Doolittle. You're justifying games being excluding people. When people say real life things don't have difficulty settings, that's just wrong. Look at sports leagues where you have people that play basketball at different difficulty settings in different leagues. We group people for real life activities all the time, so lots of people can enjoy lots of different in-person games in different ways. So your example is bad and just wrong. Real life does in fact have many difficulty settings. This doesn't make a token because it enters tapped. That's funny. That's hilarious. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that too. Video games are also supposed to be an escape from real life, so if they're different in a meaningful way, that should be a feature, not a bug. Do I play D&D? Not for a very long time. Hey, Seth, thanks for the biddies. I'll be happy to get that added to the queue. As a heads up, I've got deck queue decks for all 3 of my decks today, so that'll be up on Monday at the earliest. So... oh, gosh. I was like, okay, so I have to murder both of these so that way they can't attack with Lovestruck Beast, but I actually can't murder both because of Aspirant, or because of Archon. Okay, well, I guess we do this, and we at least murder... I don't even want to loot here, right? Because I know I have crappy cards on top of my deck. Okay, I guess we go Shock and Treasure Token then. Archon's very good. This is a super reasonable disruptive card in this format. Yeah, exactly that. If a game's intended to be difficult, like, for example, I play games on medium, and a lot of games are super difficult if you turn them up to the highest difficulty, and me being able to play a game that I enjoy on medium doesn't diminish the accomplishments of people who play them on harder difficulties. Okay, so we're gonna kill their Land War Elf, and no, I actually just can't, right? I have to cycle this, and I have to hit the creativity. Even the creativity doesn't get me out of it, though, right? Because I can't cast a spell with the Archon in play. I need to hit a Sweeper. I think we're on the 0 outer. Yeah, because I'm at 2. Hey, Exit Sad, thanks for re-upping that Prime. I appreciate it. Welcome back. And Nelly, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. That was brutal. Yeah, their little dorkos gave us the business, chat. Definitely want the extra anger here. Memory lapse seems not great. Think we board in the Perilous Voyages to have more things that play to the board. I think this is like our creature plan, right? We like bring in the extra sweeper and we bring in these to bounce their stuff. I think Chandra's too slow and the rest of these are as well. Yeah, I agree, Neil. I like playing it. I usually play games like I play a lot of games, so like I'm usually comfortable playing things on normal, but like at the same time, if I spend an hour or so on the same boss fight, I'll set the difficulty down a setting to get past it and continue with the story. I play non-card game video games to like basically watch a movie that's interactive. I don't need my video game to make me feel accomplished any more than I want, any more than I need my card game to. I just want to have a good time. Yeah, I think that's great, Precipic. If you wanted to say this game's supposed to be hard and the intended difficulty setting is the highest ones, but we're putting these other ones in here to increase accessibility so more people can enjoy this IP, I think that's great. You want to put a little asterisk on there and let people know, that's fine. Quiet Kieran, thanks for the 23 months. Welcome back. Celeste did that. That's sweet. Yeah, like that's like genuinely good game design. In my opinion. Yeah, when I've talked about game accessibility before, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is one that people always bring up in terms of like, this game does accessibility perfectly. In terms of like, it exposes, like what you mentioned there, it exposes, you can adjust how much damage you take, you can adjust parry timing windows, like really finely tune how difficult or not you want the game to be in every aspect. Thanks for 39 months, Python, welcome back. Yeah. Oh, you think I should kill this proactively? Yeah, I guess I probably should have kept them off of Collecting Company this turn. That's a good thought. I have not played Celeste, no. Old Dirty Moose, thanks for the follow. What a powerful Magic the Gathering card. Replace their Land War Elves. Fun fact, chat. The people who designed Collected Company thought they were designing a casual card, not a competitive Magic All-Star. And in a way, they weren't wrong. Alright, and they're dead. Someone was asking earlier, why play this over the Gear Hulk creativity deck? And games like that are why. Games where we're like, we do the thing on turn 4 and our opponent literally dies. Like, there's no flubbing around with 5/6s and 4/4s. You, like, just get them. Super casual cards like Reflector Mage. To be fair, Reflector Mage was not intended to be a casual card. Nexus of Fate, they weren't expecting to be playable. Also, fun fact, the development story on Reflector Mage was they changed it from being a 2/1 to a 2/3 late in development because they wanted better blockers for blue-white in Limited. Is what happened with Reflector Mage. And honestly, that's what happens with a lot of cards they miss the mark on. Is like, they have a design that's okay and reasonable, and like they make a small change late in the development file, and then it slips past them because they made a change late. Well, to be fair, you're catching us for the first deck still hyped to death. Towards the tail end, but still the first deck of the day. I think this is a mulligan, right? It doesn't combo quickly, and it doesn't have any of our sweepers. This deck is suboptimal for a turns deck, though. We kill them too quickly. That's true. Your opponent doesn't get to experience the pain and suffering turns decks usually deliver. With this one. No, 100. That's 100% accurate, Kismet. A lot of Magic's design issues come from the fact that it's appealing to a huge range of people. You know, we talked about that, right? Like, Magic's not just one game. Magic is a collection of games that lots of people play in lots of different ways, and that definitely comes at a cost. I think I put this into play tapped here, and then we can have this untapped into Dwarven Mine. The Dwarven Mine untapped. Because this is a mountain for this, which is nice. I think this is fine. That's sure too. They did actually introduce a new booster pack type somewhat recently. That might hopefully help address some of those issues. We tried playing 4-color with this deck for Burial Rites, but only splash to mostly discard rights or Dark Pit. I have seen people do things similar to that, yeah. Man, and now my Dwarven Mine doesn't make a thing here. I can't Mizzix Mastery anything either. Man, are we dead? Kind of feels like we're dead. I guess I'm gonna get to loot with this here. I guess the first Magma Opus can ramp me to the second Magma Opus. So like I'm gonna discard this turn, and then we'll go 5th land, Prismari Command. Okay, so we're gonna get to do cast one of these in 2 turns on the back of this and this. Dodge a collected company, we can dodge a ball. Oh, the tiny shitty white prison keeps closing in on us, chat. Oh no. Oh no. It's fine. There's an anger of the gods underneath this mountain, chat. I can feel it. There's an anger underneath the mountain. Well, I believe we have died. Oasis is lethal here. Also lethal. Why not cast Anger from the graveyard? Because Archon of Emeria says you can only cast one spell per turn, so Mizzix Mastery has no text. And I think, honestly, I think the opponent's archetype is a big part of why we've seen decks like what we're currently playing fall out of the format a little bit. Their deck is very good at playing permanent base pieces of disruption to make sure that we don't actually get to play. Is the deck just all hate bears? Not all hate bears, but enough. Honestly, the Archon doesn't even just destroy combo decks. It's good against a lot of the fair decks in the format too that are interested in casting multiple spells per turn. There's a lot of fair decks that are interested in double spelling. Yeah, it's good against the Arcanist decks. And three converted mana cost is an important amount of mana because it dodges stomps and shocks, and it dodges the Ooh, I wonder if they're playing the Temur Planeswalker deck, the Kiora Kasmina deck. Yeah, it makes Fatal Push need Revolt, Blood Chief's Thirst need more, etc. Well, I don't think D-Spark's playable anymore. I think D-Spark is worse than the exile target monocolor card, Fracture. It's funny how having a third point of toughness takes something from being unplayable to great in this format. Yeah, and like that's why Lightning Bolt is a card I was glad wasn't introduced to this format. Because like if Lightning Bolt was legal in this format, suddenly cards like Archon are no longer particularly good. What's going on, my dude? Skyblock. Enjoy, my son.
My plan is crystallizing.
D-Spark is playable in Niv Control. Sky Factory, you sure this is the right menu? That one found one. Enjoy.
I knew you needed my help.
Oh, Amazon lost the rights to it? What a tilter. Try YouTube. You could try. Pull up your YouTube menu and I'll search it for you.
This'll be easy.
Alright, so we're gonna loot and make a treasure here. Hey look, there's a bunch of them. Actually, we're probably supposed to... that is Skyblock, yep. I think we actually need to shock this so it does ultimate on us.
I think I have made a tactical error.
Here you go, dude. Okay, binning Magma Opus means that Mizzix Mastery is a live draw. Let's start by brainstorming for the turn and see what we get. Okay, so we could throw Memory Lapse and Dwarven Mine back. Shuffle these away. So I think I want to hit Chandra for enough that she can't kill my token. And we'll tap Royal Scion so that way they can't ultimate. Kiara was a little tilted by that play. You're having issues versus auras. I don't think that deck has a good auras matchup, Darnia. I don't think that deck really has. I don't think there's anything you could do to make the green-black rock deck, the green-black Magecraft deck decent against auras. I think it's basically just an unwinnable matchup. Well, that's rude. Them doing that proactively is kind of good for us, though. It means we can, like, make a Dwarven Mine token and maybe Indomitable Creativity as next turn. Yeah, the opponent, there was a Teamer, this Teamer Planeswalker deck that our opponent is currently playing posted a 4-1 finish in one of the Insight Esports 1K tournaments this past week.
There's still time for
You have to understand, and this is something that a lot of Magic players are gonna. Historic is a lot of players' first real non-rotating format for Magic player for them, and you have to understand that in formats like this, there's just a lot of matchups that you just punt. Culling Ritual doesn't solve the problem. They just draw too many cards, and Kaya's Ghost Form buries you in a little box in the ground. You just have to understand that in this format, there's going to be plenty of matchups that you just lose at deck registration. It's just how these formats work. It is the new Casmenia here that gives her loyalty abilities to all other Planeswalkers. So if I Valakut here... Hey, Moon Boots, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back to draw 3. Man, where are my creativities at? I can't attack with this token because Heart of Koran will crew off of a Planeswalker here, so I'm just going to pass back. I do have the mana to hard cast this next turn, though, which is nice. I don't think we're dead. We can hard cast the dragon next turn. Have a memory lapse or whatever spell they cast this turn. Or I think we're potentially fine. They can double block with Borrower and Heart? Sure, but I'll probably get an extra turn and then I have time to do something else.
Bravery galvanizes any plan.
I just let this happen, right? Because I want to memory lapse this if they go to play it, because I don't want them to be able to double block my dragon and kill it. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Non-originating formats. You should take your sideboards to take your matchups that are 40-60 closer to 50-50. You should not use your sideboard to try and make an 80-20 matchup better. Because if a matchup's like, 80-20 or 70-30 game 1, even if you get to 40 or 45% post-board, you're still incredibly likely to lose that match in a set of 3, so you might as well just not worry about it. Moon Boots, thanks for the 5 months. Welcome back. What instant or sorcery do they have? Yeah, I was gonna say, the stock version doesn't play instants or sorceries. The build that posted a result. And apparently their build's the stock build. I think they're just supposed to, for the record, I think not playing instant or sorcery is correct, and they're supposed to just make fractals. Hey, Beak, thanks for the 26 months. Welcome back. Ads do mean your prime has run out. Alright, so now the question is, do I try and murder planeswalkers or do I try and murder them? I think murdering planeswalkers might be correct here. I have one time warp in the bin. I have so many planeswalkers. Let's just try and kill them. Well, time warps in the bin are actually good for us because I have Mizzix Masteries. Oh, there is a second time. The time warp and the Brainstorms, the artworks are so similar at a glance. Couple of time warps, ship. Hold on to a land in case of looting. Yeah, that's probably true.
I won't tolerate insubordination.
Are they dead? No, they're technically not dead yet. No, they are dead, right? Because of the tokens? Because now their Rowanus can't block and I have another turn still. What do you expect me to do? Not overload this? Brr, zap, brr, zap. Alright, so I think Anger and Sweltering Suns are actually kind of whatever here. A lot of their things are too big for this to be relevant. Perilous Voyage actually seems good for tempoing their various dorks back to their hand. They have a number of more expensive spells, so Lapse is good. Yeah, Voyage bounces their Casmenia tokens. This is going to be our last match with this one. And then we're going to shift gears to something that might be a giant pile of awful, but it's going to be our giant pile of awful. We're going to play some Command the Dread Horde Platinum Angel combo. Hello, oldest son. Declan beat level 100 on his own? That's pretty cool. That's still pretty good.
The more you play that, the more you get.
That's pretty good. Hear that, chat? He's a real gamer. He likes bigger numbers. Big numbers are great, right? Okay. Okay, so I think the play here is let this smack us once and then Opus into Mastery Opus next turn, right? Smacky smack. The RTX is not kind to the range that the children's voice is in. So still waiting on a copy of Indomitable Creativity. I'm really surprised we haven't gotten Battle of Wits on this platform, because Battle of Wits would make them a pile of money. Like, the amount of wild cards it costs to, like, play Battle of Wits, like, there is a financial incentive for them to put that card on this platform. I think Yorion decks are where wild cards go to die. Put Battle of Wits on here. Yikes. Okay, so I think we shock Chandra loot here. Oh, I could shock Shatter? It's probably shock Shatter, right? Yeah, that's the play. Yeah, Mizzix Mastery not accomplishing anything at the moment here.
I don't need this.
So I just cash in Mastery as a... I think we just cash in Mastery as a loot, make a treasure, right? Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. Take a chance on me. Do. Hey, D20. Good morning. Booba Steves. Thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Is this dwarf token gonna do anything? I guess it might with the second one. Let's kill the treasure. So if I Prismari Command the questing beast, I can Prismari Command it from hand as well to kill it. And if I make 2 treasure tokens while doing these things, I can hold up memory lapse for their turn. Then hopefully I don't die. I'm going to 2. But if we don't die, we've got a good shot at taking all the turns next turn. We haven't cast any time warps, and there's 4 time warps and 31 cards here. There's 30 because we put 6 non-time warps in the bottom of our deck here. Morning, goat. Yeah, we get 8 looks at a time warp here. Survey says, wow, brutal. I guess with the Perilous Voyage, we're technically not dead yet. But like, man, that's rough. Yeah, what's up? What's Hypergeo on that? We had 4 hits in 31 cards. We were actually, okay, that makes me feel better. We were actually only 66% to hit there. We were actually only 66% to hit there. Well, we don't get to scry, because this only scries if you about something that's 2 or less. So it's a close game. So not an incredible low roll, but still a little bit of a low roll. Rep Solo, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. We could have targeted our own thing to scry to. That's a good thought. I don't think that that's the right play, because, like, it buys us a turn if we use it on their thing, right? So, like, I feel like scrying 2 rather than giving ourselves a turn. Like, obviously Chandra feels bad, but... Oh, is it you don't control? It might be templated to you don't control too. I'm actually not sure offhand. Get that in a second. Okay, so with this draw, I think we go tap land and pass. Getting set up for a fast combo kill here, hopefully. Fingers crossed. It is you don't control. Sweet. Not really gonna look into Brainstorm into anything in particular here. We are going to Brainstorm at end of turn here. And the reason for the end of turn Brainstorm here is I want an untapped land next turn to Creativity my treasure token. So Brainstorm at end of turn gives me 3 chances to find that land as opposed to just 1. The shock here is a little bit Oh, they're just shocking to deal damage. Sure, deal. I'd say it's a little bit scary. They could have like a spell pierce or something. All right, looking for an untapped land. 3 shots. 1 opportunity. And we even get to put a Time Warp back on top of our deck here. We have 3 dragons in our deck. So obviously this Time Warp's going to go to the bottom, but we might cycle through back into... Maybe it's wrong, actually, to do that. Maybe I'm supposed to leave it in hand, so we're more likely to have a second. Alright, nailed it. And now that we have a Time Warp in the bin, we basically unlock 4 more Time Warps because Mizzix Mastery is now a live draw. Now, in this instance, I think we are supposed to Perilous Voyage to Scry, because I want to try and guarantee that we hit. So anything that's not Mastery or... a reverse... No, because I was drawing the top card of my deck, Asterisk. Oh, I missed the Prismari Command lethal. That's fine. I wanted the Time Warp, chat. Peasants. You peasants at home wanted to take 1 fewer turns here. Come on now. I was busy it's a taking turns deck, chat. It's not a Prismari Command deck. Come on now. Savor the flavor. Your play was optimal. My play was on theme for this. Huh? What are my thoughts on this? I feel like if I was interested in trying to optimize this some more, the memory lapses felt really mediocre. I kind of feel like if I'm going to have counter spells, I would like them out of the sideboard. A lot of what this deck is doing is very like tap outy, for lack of a better word. Puddle Jumper, thank you for the very generous tier 3 and for the quarter of year. Welcome back. I'm not. Thanks for the 14 months of Prime. I feel like, yeah, that's what my gut says. I would cut these memory lapses and I would like go up in anger in the main deck to make us slightly better against creatures. And honestly, I wonder if Solve the Equation is a card this archetype should be playing. You definitely need Dwarven Mine in this archetype. Without Dwarven Mine, you only have 8 ways to create things that you can Indomitable Creativity off of. If anything, if you think the mana's awkward, I would move towards playing more mountains rather than cutting Dwarven Mine. So like Sulfur Falls could be like Temur Triomes, for example, or just more basic mountain stuff like that. You play Supreme Will as a counter, so I just don't think the counters are very good. I feel like I had games where like I was really looking for more creativities, and Solve the Equation is a really elegant way to do that. And I feel like I'd want to explore some number of copies of this just so we can access our cards. Like, and even when you're hitting this while comboing, it's super reasonable too. Because, like, you know, you attack the first time, you Time Warp with your dragon, and then your lands are untapped on your new turn. So if your dragon hits Solve the Equation when your lands are untapped, you can use Solve to find Mastery or another Time Warp to then continue comboing. So, like, this would help us find our combo more consistently. And it would help us so when we start comboing, we're less likely to brick off. I think at least 2 copies of this sounds great. I don't know exactly what you want to do with the other one. The green-white Hate Bears matchup felt really difficult. The green-white company deck. So I feel like I honestly want It could even go as high as 5 sweepers in the main, especially with Sweltering Suns cycling, and boarding up to 6 doesn't seem unreasonable there. Yeah, a braid could be a reasonable card to include too, somewhere in the 75. Being able to kill the 2/3 flyer is important, and the fact that a braid's instant speed, so you can abrade their stuff on their turn, feels good. Yeah, that would be my thoughts. I want to play some Solve the Equation. I could see as many as 3 of this card being correct. This is also a card that clears Brainstorms as well, so it's another shuffle effect for this, which is nice. Neil Giraffe Tyson, thanks for the couple of sub gifts. Yeah, this deck felt sweet. I think this is probably, this is definitely the best Velomachus Time Warp deck that I've played. Is definitely my opinion. The other ones felt a little bit medium. This one felt pretty reasonable. If we could just add a little consistency to it. All right.